The false derelict. The research vessel Stellar Dawn glided silently through the unexplored sector of space known as the Black Veil. Captain Vrix stood on the observation deck, his four crystalline eyes reflecting the distant starlight. His species, the Zephyrians, had dedicated centuries to mapping the galaxy, their natural curiosity driving them to explore every corner of the cosmos. "Captain," called out Navigation Officer Tella, her iridescent skin shimmering with excitement. "We're detecting an energy signature approximately 3 parsecs ahead. It's faint, but definitely artificial." Vrix turned from the viewport, his elongated frame moving with practiced grace. "Can you identify the source?" Tella's fingers danced across the holographic controls. "Running analysis now. It appears to be a vessel, sir. Configuration matches human design parameters from our database." A ripple of tension passed through the bridge crew. Humanity was still relatively new to the Galactic Council, having joined only 2 decades ago. Their technology was considered primitive by most standards, yet they possessed an uncanny ability to adapt and survive in hostile environments. "Approach with caution," Vrix ordered. "Full sensor sweep. I want to know everything about that ship before we get within visual range." As the Stellar Dawn drew closer, the mysterious vessel came into view. It hung motionless against the backdrop of stars, its dark hull absorbing rather than reflecting light. The ship appeared damaged, with visible scorch marks and what looked like battle damage along its port side. Science Officer Kale stepped forward, his blue-tinged skin glowing softly as he analyzed the data. Designation reads HSS Eclipse. Human military classification, but this far from their territory. It doesn't make sense. "Any life signs?" Vrix asked, studying the vessel's angular design with growing unease. "Negative, Captain. No power signatures either. The ship appears completely dead. Based on the decay rate of the hull scarring, I'd estimate it's been drifting for at least 6 months." Vrix considered their options. Salvage rights in unexplored space were complex, but a human military vessel could contain valuable intelligence. The opportunity was too significant to ignore. "Prepare a boarding party," he decided. "Kel, you'll lead. Take a full scientific team and security detail. I want answers." The boarding shuttle approached the eclipse with extreme caution. Kel watched the derelict grow larger through the viewport, noting how its black hull seemed to absorb their scanning beams rather than reflect them. Something about the ship felt wrong, though he couldn't articulate why. "Docking port is responsive," reported the pilot. "Standard universal protocols accepted. We have a seal." The team entered through the airlock, their environmental suits protecting them from the ship's cold, dead atmosphere. Emergency lighting cast long shadows across empty corridors, creating an eerie maze of darkness and dim red illumination. "Spread out in pairs," Kale ordered. "Document everything. Look for ship's logs, navigation data, anything that might explain what happened here." As they explored deeper into the vessel, Cal's unease grew. The ship was too clean, too organized for a vessel that had supposedly been drifting for months. No floating debris, no signs of rushed evacuation, no bodies. "Sir," called one of his technicians, "you need to see this." Kale entered what appeared to be the engineering section. The power core stood silent and dark, but the control panels were different from standard human technology. Sleeker, more advanced. "These modifications aren't in any database," the technician explained. "It's like they've integrated technology we've never seen before." Before Kale could respond, a soft hum began to resonate through the ship. The emergency lighting brightened, shifting from red to a cool blue. Display screens flickered to life across the bridge. "What did you do?" Kale demanded. "Nothing. I was just scanning the interface when..." The sound of blast doors slamming shut echoed through the corridors. Kel's communicator crackled with panicked voices from his team members reporting similar lockdowns throughout the ship. "This is Kel to Stellar Dawn. We have a situation. The ship is..." His transmission cut off as a calm, measured voice spoke through the ship's speakers. Welcome aboard the HSS Eclipse. Please remain calm. You are not in immediate danger. A representative will be with you shortly. Back on the Stellar Dawn, Captain Vrix watched in horror as the Eclipse began to power up. Weapon systems that had appeared damaged moments ago swiveled to target his ship. Shield generators hummed to life, creating a visible energy barrier around the human vessel. "Captain," shouted the tactical officer, "the Eclipse is scanning us. Deep penetration scans. They're mapping our entire ship. Get our people back," Vrix ordered. "Now." "We can't, sir. All communications are being jammed. The docking port has sealed with our shuttle still attached." Vrix's crystalline eyes narrowed as realization dawned. This wasn't a derelict at all. It was a perfectly executed trap, and they had walked right into it. Inside the Eclipse, Kale and his team were herded into a central chamber by automated security systems. Force fields blocked every exit, leaving them no choice but to wait. The alien scientist's mind raced, trying to understand what was happening. A door slid open, and a human woman stepped through. She wore a crisp military uniform, her dark hair pulled back in a practical style. Her eyes, Kale noticed, held a calculating intelligence that sent a chill through his exoskeleton. "I am Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force," she announced. "I apologize for the deception, but certain protocols had to be followed." "What is the meaning of this?" Kale demanded. "We approached your vessel with peaceful intentions." Chen nodded. "I'm aware. And I assure you, we mean you no harm. However, humanity has learned that in this galaxy, knowledge is the ultimate currency. And sometimes, that knowledge must be acquired through unconventional means." She gestured to a holographic display showing the Stellar Dawn. "Your ship possesses propulsion technology far beyond our current capabilities. Your sensor arrays, your navigation systems, all of it represents a significant advancement for our species." "So you set a trap?" Kale asked, his voice tight with anger. "We created an opportunity," Chen corrected. "One that benefits both our peoples, though you may not see it that way yet." The implications of her words sank in. The Eclipse wasn't lost or abandoned. It was a hunter, designed to appear vulnerable while waiting for curious explorers to take the bait. "What do you want from us?" Kale asked, already knowing the answer. Chen's smile was professional, almost apologetic. "Cooperation. A technological exchange. You help us understand your systems, and in return, we share our medical advances. I believe you'll find our genetic therapies quite revolutionary." Outside, Captain Vrix faced his own impossible choice. His crew was trapped aboard a ship that had revealed itself to be a sophisticated predator. The Eclipse's weapons remained locked on the Stellar Dawn, a silent threat that needed no elaboration. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we're receiving a transmission from the Eclipse." "Put it through." Commander Chen's face appeared on the main screen. "Captain Vrix, I presume. I have a proposition for you, one that ensures the safe return of your crew and valuable benefits for both our species." Vrix studied the human commander's face, searching for deception. "You've taken my people hostage and threatened my ship. This is hardly the basis for negotiation." "On the contrary," Chen replied. "This is exactly how negotiations begin in a galaxy where trust is a luxury we cannot afford. Shall we discuss terms?" As Vrix considered his options, he realized he was witnessing something profound. Humanity wasn't just another species joining the galactic community. They were predators who had learned to hunt with precision and patience, using their perceived weaknesses as the ultimate camouflage. The question now wasn't whether to negotiate, but how to survive an encounter with a species that had turned vulnerability into a weapon. The Hunter's Gambit. Commander Sarah Chen stood in the Eclipse's command center, monitoring the delicate dance of diplomacy and threat that was unfolding. 3 years of preparation had led to this moment, humanity's first successful capture of advanced alien technology. The mission parameters were clear: acquire, analyze, and adapt. "Commander," reported Lieutenant Wong from the tactical station, "the Stellar Dawn is powering down weapons. They're accepting our terms." Chen nodded, unsurprised. The Zephyrians were explorers, not warriors. They understood when they were outmaneuvered. Maintain defensive posture, but lower our targeting locks by 50%. Show them we're willing to de-escalate. In the detention area, Kale paced restlessly while his team huddled together, discussing their predicament in hushed tones. The force fields hummed softly, a constant reminder of their captivity. The door opened, and Chen entered alone, a calculated gesture of trust. "Officer Kale, I'd like to show you something that might change your perspective on our actions." "What could possibly justify this deception?" Kale demanded. Chen activated a holographic display, showing a star map with several systems highlighted in red. 3 years ago, humanity encountered the Vakari Dominion. They destroyed our colony on New Tasmania, 40,000 lives lost in minutes. We were helpless against their technology. Kel's expression shifted slightly. The Vakari were known aggressors, expanding their territory through force and subjugation. Since then, Chen continued, we've had to make difficult choices. The Eclipse program was our solution, ships designed to appear vulnerable, to attract those with advanced technology we could study and adapt. "You're using us," Kale stated flatly. "We're surviving," Chen corrected, "and offering fair exchange. Your people will benefit from our medical technology, particularly our treatments for crystalline degradation syndrome. I believe that affects 30% of your population." Kel's silence spoke volumes. The syndrome was indeed a crucial health crisis for his people. Before their discussion could continue, alarms blared throughout the ship. Lieutenant Wong's voice came through the comm system. "Commander, we have incoming vessels. 6 Zephyrian warships dropping out of hyperspace." Chen moved swiftly to the bridge, Kale following under guard. The main display showed the approaching fleet, led by a massive battlecruiser. "They responded faster than expected," Chen murmured. She turned to Kale. "Your people don't typically maintain such a military presence. Why the heavy response?" Kale hesitated before answering. "The Stellar Dawn isn't just a research vessel. We were mapping potential evacuation routes. The Vakari have been expanding toward our core systems." Chen's eyes widened with understanding. "You're running from them too." On the bridge of the Stellar Dawn, Captain Vrix received a priority transmission from High Admiral Zilana aboard the battlecruiser Radiant Sword. "Captain, report. Why haven't you withdrawn from the human vessel?" "Admiral, the situation is complex. Our boarding party is detained, but—" "Stand by for military extraction," Zilana interrupted. "All ships prepare for coordinated assault." Vrix's crystals pulsed with agitation. "Admiral, wait. The humans have proposed an exchange that could benefit." "The time for negotiation has passed." Chen observed the Zephyrian fleet movements with growing concern. "They're forming an attack pattern." "Kale, you need to speak with your admiral. Make her understand what's at stake." "Why should I help you?" Kale challenged. "Because if this turns into a firefight, we all lose. The Vakari will detect the energy signatures and investigate. Is that what you want?" Kale considered for a moment before nodding. "Open a channel." The communication established, Kale spoke rapidly in his native language. Chen couldn't understand the words, but she recognized the urgency in his tone. The Admiral's response was harsh, dismissive. "She won't listen," Kale reported. "She sees this as an act of war." Chen made a swift decision. "Wong, release all weapons locks. Power down shields. Transmit our complete technical database on Vakari combat capabilities to the Radiant Sword." "Commander," Wong questioned, shocked. "Do it. Sometimes the best way to prove you're not an enemy is to make yourself vulnerable." The bridge fell silent as the Eclipse's defenses dropped. On the Zephyrian ships, confusion reigned as they received the unexpected data transmission. Admiral Zilana appeared on screen, her crystalline features expressing bewilderment. "What is this?" "Proof of our intentions," Chen replied. "We've been monitoring Valkyrie expansion for months. That data includes their attack patterns, shield frequencies, and tactical weaknesses. Consider it a gesture of good faith." Zelana studied the information, her expression shifting from suspicion to surprise. This could change everything. "How did you acquire such detailed intelligence?" "The same way we acquired you," Chen said with a slight smile. "By appearing weak when we were actually watching. The Valkyrie dismissed us as primitive. Their arrogance was their weakness." The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. "Perhaps we should discuss an alliance instead of an exchange." Hours later, in the Eclipse's conference room, Chen, Vrix, and Zelana sat around a holographic display showing Valkyrie expansion patterns. "Your refugee fleets won't escape them," Chen explained. "They're already positioning interdiction forces along your planned routes." "How do you know about the fleets?" Vrix asked. "We've been monitoring all major powers' movements since New Tasmania. Knowledge is survival." Zelana leaned forward. "What do you propose?" "A joint operation," Chen replied. "Your advanced propulsion technology combined with our tactical adaptability. We create a series of false trails leading the Valkyrie away from your evacuation routes, while establishing hidden colonies in sectors they've already dismissed as worthless." "The humans excel at deception," Kale added, having joined the discussion. "It may be our best option." Vrix nodded slowly. "The Stellar Dawn's crew will assist with the technology transfer voluntarily. In exchange, we want full access to your medical database." "Agreed," Chen said. "And perhaps we can discuss establishing formal diplomatic relations. It seems we have more in common than initially apparent." As the meeting concluded, Kale approached Chen privately. "You planned for this possibility, didn't you?" "The alliance." Chen's expression remained neutral. "We plan for every possibility. That's how humanity survives. We learn, we adapt, and we turn every situation to our advantage. Even this conversation is being analyzed for future reference." "Of course," Chen smiled. "Welcome to human diplomacy." 3 months later, the first joint Human-Zephyrian Task Force launched Operation Mirage. False sensor ghosts led Valkyrie fleets on wild pursuits through empty space, while refugee ships safely reached their new homes. The Eclipse and her sister ships continued their missions, but now as recognized diplomatic vessels rather than hidden hunters. In the grand chess game of galactic politics, humanity had revealed itself not as pawns or knights, but as players who could change the rules of the game itself. They had turned perceived weakness into strength, deception into diplomacy, and potential enemies into crucial allies. The galaxy would never be the same.